Okay, so again, on these, you're going to have to factor. And if you can't factor, you're going to miss the bonus on the next quiz because we're going to have 2 days of factoring later on. But for now, for my people who want to know how to do the bonus, this is how you do it. How you know you have to factor is because you get a squared in here, x squared. To solve for squared, you move everything to one side. So I'm going to move the 8x to the side with x squared. And then factor. This is 2 terms, so I'm going to use my greatest common factor. The greatest common factor of both of these is just an x or 1x. And you're left with x minus 8. Set each factor equal to 0 and solve. And you should have done this in algebra. Hopefully you remember it. That was a big part of algebra. When you go to check your answer, you have to check both. So the square root of 8 times 0 equals 0. Well, that's true. 0 equals 0. So I know 0 is an answer. The square root of 8 times 8 equals 8. Square root of 64 equals 8. Yes, that's true. 8 equals 8. So both of those answers work. Okay, keep going. So 12 minus a equals 1a. When I subtract over my 7a, square both sides. So 12 minus a equals a squared. Again, you have squared, a squared, so you have to move everything to that side. So I add over a, I subtract over 12. This is a trinomial. So with your trinomial, you want to know what multiplies to c, because this is a squared plus b squared plus c squared, and adds to your middle term, b. So 2 numbers that multiply to negative 12 and adds to 1. Well, 4 and 3 have a difference of 1, and they multiply to 12. One of these has to be negative to add to my positive 1. So the 3 has to be negative. So then in your parentheses, you have a plus 4, a minus 3. Set each one of those equal to 0 and solve. So a equals 3, a equals negative 4. Okay. Square both sides. 6m minus 38 equals, this side's way more complicated because you have to FOIL this. When I square a binomial, 2 terms, times 2 terms, I have to FOIL. This is going to take a couple extra steps. M times m times negative 5, negative 5 times m, negative 5 times negative 5. So 6m minus 38 equals m squared minus 10m plus 25. Move everything to the side of m squared. So I'm going to subtract over my 6m. And I'm going to go ahead and add over my 38. So nothing's left on this side. 16m plus 8, 63. Okay, we need to multiply to 63 and add to 16. Negative 16. So we're multiplying. We need 2 numbers that multiply to 63 and add to negative 16. And I don't know, so I'm going to think of multiples of 63. 1 and 63. 2 doesn't go into it. 3 and 21. 4 doesn't go into it. 5 doesn't go into it. 6 doesn't go into it. 7 and 9. And there are your factors, 7 and 9. If you add them, you get 16. If I multiply them, I get positive 63. But I need negative 16, so they both need to be negative. So m minus 7, m minus 9. Set both equal to 0 and solve. So m equals 9, m equals 7. Check your answers. I have to go back and check these answers because I forgot. So square root of 6 times 7 minus 38 equals 7 minus 5. So does this side equal 2? 6 times 9 minus 38. 9 minus 5. Does this equal 4? After you're plugging them into the calculator, they do equal each other. That one equals 2, that one equals 4. So both of these answers work out. I come back up here and check these answers because I forgot. Minus negative is a positive 4. 8 times 4. Thank you. 32. 12 minus 3 plus 7 times 3 equal 8 times 3. 21. Plug them in, check both sides. So going back to check 14, I get the 3 works, I get 24 equals 24, but the 4, the negative 4 does not, because when I plug in negative 24, I get negative 24. And 8 times negative 4 should give me negative 32. And they don't, so this one doesn't work. But you still have an answer. 3 works. So just because 1 doesn't work doesn't mean there's not an answer. 3 works on this one. Make sure you check both answers on this bonus. All right, next one. Square both sides. This side, the square roots and the square cancel. On the right side, there is not a square root, so I have to multiply it times itself and FOIL. First, outside, inside, last. Combine like terms, I get 4v plus 4. Move everything to the side of the v squared. I'm going to subtract 2v, subtract 3. So 0 equals v squared plus 2v plus 1. When you go to do your x, what multiplies to 1 and adds to 2? Only 1 and 1. So v plus 1, v plus 1. So v equals negative 1, and v equals negative 1 again. That's just one answer I have to check, not 2. So do the square root of 2 times negative 1 plus 3. These are all small numbers, so I'll just go ahead and do it without the calculator. Left side equals 1. Right side equals 1. 1 is the answer. All right. This would be your time to pause the video and try 17. You will have to FOIL when you square both sides. Go ahead and pause it. Work it out. See if you can get it on your own. And that's hard to do. It's like, oh, well, I'll just work it out as you go out. But that does not help you. So really, pause this video right now. Make sure you know how to FOIL. Combine like terms. Move everything to the side with the y squared. Getting sloppy, sorry. Not 50. I want to say 70. 70 plus 5. Yeah. All right. 1 multiplies to 70 and adds to negative 17. 7 and 10. If you didn't know that, do your factors of 70. 1 and 70. 2 and 35. 3 doesn't work. 4. I think 4 works. 4 doesn't work. 5 works. 16. Something like that. 6 doesn't work because 3 doesn't work. 7 and 10. 8 and 9 do not work. The next number you check is 10, so you know this list is complete. So 7 and 10 work to add to a negative and multiply to a positive. They both need to be negative. So y minus 7, y minus 10. Set both factors equal to 0 and solve. y equals 10, y equals 7. Check your answers. So the square root of 51 minus 5 times 7 equals 7 minus 11. This one can't work because I'm going to get this negative 4 here, and this can't equal a negative 4. You can plug it in. I get a positive 4, but not a negative 4. So 7 doesn't work. So I check 10. This one does not work as well. So here, since both answers do not work, it is no solution. I know that is a lot of work for no solution, but just so you know, there's multiple things I'm checking. I check that you square it. I check that you know you have to FOIL. I check that you FOILed correctly. I check that you got it equal to 0 correctly. You factored correctly. You got 7 and 10. I do check that you get 7 and 10, and then that you checked your answer. And after you checked your answer, you knew there's no solution. So that's like a 10-point question right there showing all that work. So I know it's a lot of work, but it's 10 points. All right, last one. Square both sides. Square and the square root cancel out on this side. Anything in the radical comes out. Here it is still a binomial being squared, so we will have to FOIL. Some of the square roots will cancel out, some will not though. Square root of x times square root of x is the square root of x squared. Negative square root of x, negative square root of x, positive 1. X squared and squared cancel out. Combine like terms. Now we're in a different square root. We're going to isolate this square root by minus over x. They cancel out. Subtract over 1, I get 8. Divide over by negative 2, I get negative 4. This can't happen. I can't have the square root of a negative number, so no solution. You can keep going, but here you can tell it's not going to be a solution. So if I square both sides, I get 16, and I could go back and check 16. Square root of 16 plus 9 equals the square root of 16 minus 1. Square root of 16 is 4. 4 minus 1 is 3. 16 plus 9 is 25. Square root of 25 is 5. So again, like I said, 16 will not work. So remember, the ones where you have to factor will be the bonus on your next test or quiz.